Have you ever watched a courtroom drama and thought, no way, that would never happen in real life? Well, sometimes reality is even stranger than fiction. Today we're diving into a case that had seasoned lawyers and a jury of 12 completely speechless. This isn't just about legal jargon and objections. It's a story of a last-minute twist that no one, and I mean no one, saw coming. The case seemed straightforward enough, at least on the surface. It revolved around a high-stakes corporate espionage lawsuit. A smaller tech startup, let's call them Innovtech, was suing a massive conglomerate, Omnicorp, for allegedly stealing their groundbreaking software code. The air in the courtroom was thick with tension. On one side, you had Innovtech's small but feisty legal team, armed with what they believed was a mountain of circumstantial evidence. On the other, Omnicorp's army of slick, high-priced attorneys, looking cool and confident as ever. Painted a detailed picture, claiming he overheard senior executives at Omnicorp discussing how to acquire Innovtech's technology by any means necessary. He provided emails and memos that, while not a smoking gun, certainly seemed to point towards a conspiracy. The jury was captivated. David came across as sincere, a classic underdog fighting for the little guy. Omnicorp's defense, however, was relentless. Their strategy was simple: discredit David. They portrayed him as a disgruntled ex-employee with a personal vendetta, someone who was fired for poor performance and was now seeking revenge. They nitpicked every detail of his story, trying to poke holes in his timeline and question his motives. The cross-examination was brutal. For days, the lead defense attorney hammered away at David, trying to make him crack. But David held his ground, his story unwavering. As the trial neared its conclusion, everyone in the courtroom had a sense of how things would likely play out. The jury would go into deliberation, torn between David's compelling testimony and the defense's character assassination. It felt like a classic he said, she said scenario, and the outcome was anyone's guess. The judge scheduled the final closing arguments, and the atmosphere was electric. This was the final act. The prosecution went first. Their closing argument was a powerful emotional appeal. They recapped the evidence, emphasizing David's bravery in coming forward. They portrayed Innovtech as a symbol of American innovation, being crushed by a corporate giant. They asked the jury to send a message that this kind of behavior wouldn't be tolerated. It was a masterful performance, and you could see it resonating with several of the jurors. Then, it was the defense's turn. Omnicorp's lead attorney, a woman known for her sharp intellect and even sharper tongue, strode to the podium. Everyone leaned in, expecting her to launch one final, blistering attack on David's credibility. She began calmly, almost conversationally, acknowledged the prosecution's passionate plea. The prosecution wants you to believe he's a hero. We've suggested he's a liar. But what if he's neither? A confused murmur rippled through the courtroom. What did she mean? She paused for dramatic effect, letting the question hang in the air. What if, she continued, her voice rising slightly, the story he told is true, every word of it. He did overhear executives, did see incriminating memos. He was telling the truth about a conspiracy to steal Innovtech's code. The courtroom went dead silent. The Innovtech lawyers exchanged bewildered looks. The jury stared, mouths agape. He was telling the truth, she repeated, because he wasn't just a witness to the conspiracy. He was the architect of it. Chaos. The lead prosecutor for Innovetic shot to his feet, yelling objection, but the judge, as stunned as everyone else, just waved him down, wanting to see where this was going. The defense attorney then projected a new set of documents onto the courtroom screens. They were encrypted financial records, bank transfers, and offshore account statements, she explained. While the prosecution was busy building their case around David, we were following the money. She laid it all out. David had been paid by a third rival competitor to both Innovetic and Omnicorp Frame, Omnicorp for the theft. The plan was brilliant in its deviousness. He would orchestrate a theft, leak just enough information to make Omnicorp look guilty, and then play the role of the heroic whistleblower. The goal was to tie up both companies in years of costly litigation, allowing the third company to swoop in and dominate the market. Here was the villain of a story no one even knew was being written. David, sitting in the witness stand where he had been called to observe the closing arguments, had gone pale. His confident demeanor had crumbled, replaced by a look of pure panic. The defense attorney concluded her argument with a simple statement. Omnicorp is not guilty of stealing anything. But they were the intended victim of a sophisticated frame-up. The only crime committed here was by the man the prosecution asked you to believe was a hero. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. The judge declared a mistrial. The case against Omnicorp collapsed instantly. But a new case was just beginning. The district attorney's office, present in the courtroom, immediately began proceedings to charge David with perjury, fraud, and corporate sabotage. The rival company that hired him was also placed under federal investigation. In the end, it was a courtroom moment for the history books.